Dave is Michael Jackson. Now, this conspiracy theory might be a bit controversial. It's not a new theory, but it has gone viral again on the application, getting 13 million views and 3 million likes. Take a look.
Friend attending the funeral, and Dave, yes, that's his name, Dave. He was David Rothenberg. He was set on fire in 1983. He suffered, as you can see, terrible scars. How old were you at the time?
I was about 7 years old at the time.
And were you in the hospital?
I was not in the hospital at the time. I was in interim, back and forth from surgery.
And what did he do for you?
Well, basically, he befriended me. He took me into his life, which is very rare for Michael to do. But he opened up his arms to me and accepted me as a very good friend of his. And throughout the years, he never let me go.
I believe that's...
This is broad daylight. So you grab the kids. They looking normal. Mike comes out. He has his disguise on, you know. So I starts laughing because I didn't even recognize him, you know. It wasn't like he had a fake mustache or he had a wig or nothing.
He was definitely a master of disguise.
So as we, talking, sometimes I forget that he's supposed to be in this disguise, you know. And I keep calling him Mike. Right, and this little girl hears it, she's like, and she looks over, and I think she recognized him, like, I really think she did. So then when I realized she was peeping, then I started calling him Dave.
Do you guys find any similarities in his voice and mannerisms? Cause I definitely do in his voice, but I also acknowledge that it could just be a coincidence. And also Dave did have his own personal backstory, so this one's pretty far out there, but I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty convincing if you just take it on face value. Especially when we take into account Michael Jackson's net worth and how much power he had. He could basically get away with anything. There's also apparent footage of him getting out of the coroner's van, but I don't know how much I believe it. Take a look. This message is sponsored by Raycon. Spring is on its way. I'm spending way more time outdoors, and I've been using Raycon's essential open earbuds ever since they arrived for walks and just doing stuff out and about. Because they're open ear, you can listen to music or podcasts while still hearing what's happening around you, which makes being outside feel easier and more comfortable. The sound stays clear and balanced without feeling closed off from your surroundings. Regular earbuds block out everything. You can't hear someone calling your name, a car honking, anything. These Raycon ones sit just outside your ear canal, so you can really get a clear sound, but you can actually hear what's going on around you too. That awareness is perfect for those walks outside when you need to be alert. They're really light and the ear hook part rotates, so they actually stay in. I've worn them doing stuff around the house like cleaning, and they don't fall out and they don't get uncomfortable. The essential open earbuds are perfect for refreshing your routine this spring. Click the link in the description box or go to buyraycon.com/bookofaliceopen to get 20% off. Thanks Raycon for sponsoring. Cassie Compton, Haley Phillips. This disturbing video circulated TikTok in 2021. Not only does the woman in the video appear to have two black eyes, but has a distinct similar appearance to this missing Arkansas girl, Cassie Compton. Compton disappeared one night in 2014 after going to the corner store and never returning. Compton has still not been found to this day. The girl in the video, though resembling Cassie, is not in fact Cassie Compton. It was a woman called Haley Grace Phillips, who later confessed that her eyes were bruised due to a robbery, and that although her family had seemingly reported her missing, she was just fine. Sadly, this isn't where the story ends, however. Unfortunately, Haley Grace Phillips died of a suspected overdose in 2023. Her death is a tragic one, and her family have been left without numerous answers, especially due to Phillips's body being covered in cuts and contusions. No one else has been linked to her death. Before the Big Bang. What was before the Big Bang? Probably nothing, and some think that asking that question is rather nonsensical. comparing the question to asking what is more south than the South Pole. Nothing, right? The question is impossible to answer due to the fact that the concept of time as we know it began with the Big Bang itself. So how does one conceptualize the meaning of a before without the existence of time? It's hard and fun to imagine, right? The visible universe as we see it today was once tiny, very hot and dense, expanding or exploding as some refer to it, to create everything. This moment occurred 13.8 billion years ago. Recently, in just the last 50 years or so, scientists have known of the cosmic microwave background in our universe, referred to as fossil radiation. It's known as the shockwave that was released after the Big Bang happened, theorized to have created the first atoms in the universe. This fossil radiation caused the universe to be the color orange, or like a pale glowing orange, for millions of years, because of the charged particles in space being several thousand degrees. It was too hot for even galaxies to form in that period. This cosmic microwave background, CMB, reveals the picture of a 400,000-year-old universe, a very young picture of the universe that occurred soon after the Big Bang. Going further back than that, the universe begins to get hotter and hotter, as opposed to going further in time as the universe expands and cools. What occurred exactly before the expansion is currently unknown to science, but there are still some ideas that are proposed. We aren't completely in the dark. One theory put forth states that the source of the energy that caused the expansion of the universe derived from the strong nuclear force transitioning from one state into another, one out of the four known forces in our universe, those being electromagnetism, weak interaction, strong interaction, the one related to this theory, and gravitation, all of them merging to create a single force, a theory supported by experiments at CERN. You know, that place where they have that Large Hadron Collider. Before all of the known physical laws existed, that is what was before the Big Bang. So currently we cannot explain what exactly occurred before anything occurred. We're running into a wall again, and I just hate not getting an answer, but it seems so far that nobody knows. The question isn't logical, or we can't conceive what it was before everything we know. Some believe that the universe was always existing, but it was in another state, always existing relative to how it was before the Big Bang, because it's theorized that time didn't exist as we understand it now before the Big Bang. Maybe another dimension exists that we may not understand just yet, beyond our understanding of space and time, and that could explain what existed before the Big Bang. Roblox Nazi predators. Roblox may seem like a kid's game on the surface, innocent looking. It can be pretty easy as an adult to write it off as just another innocent game, leaving its more sinister communities overlooked, promoting Nazi ideology, freaky antics, and inappropriate relationships. Brandon, his real name, went under the username Albert Hilarium, using his last name to begin a group called the Hilarium Dynasty, where everyone who wanted to be in the community had to change their last name to Hilarium. Getting attention in the SCP Roblox community, people began to notice and try to find out who Albert Hilarium really was, till finally a Discord message would reveal the disturbing side of the supposed leader. Of course, he denied it like all of them do on To Catch a Pred, but that didn't stop Cora Katz from diving even further into the investigation of his depraved ways, finding that he was messaging her sister, Yuki, a minor, trying to coerce her to please his twisted desires. She posed as another member of the community, gathering info on the suspected 20-year-old man who spent his days in the Roblox community chatting up young teens. Interestingly enough, he was running what was the equivalent to the Diddy parties but in Roblox, setting up secluded areas in the map where everyone would be unclothed and freaky. One girl even recounts her interaction with the community.
So I used to be really obsessed with SCP stuff for some reason, and I was at Group Recruiting Plaza. I was trying to find like SCP groups, and I saw Albert's group, and I joined and stuff. Everything was normal. But then once I got into the Discord server, and they'd say like really suggestive stuff, and they'd be like really weird to me and stuff. And Albert and all his little minions would say that he's like mean, so it's fine for him to joke about that kind of stuff. He'd just say really sexual things, and it made me really uncomfortable, but I was like, okay, whatever.
Virgin Fest. This was an event that was supposed to be held at a tattoo shop, where an online incel community was supposed to meet up and listen to some of their favorite artists in their incel community sing about feeling lonely and angry. This event was supposed to be for edgelords, so many on the far left began noticing, as most of the artists on the set list were posting edgy racist type memes for a while. Right before performing, Antifa of Atlanta would come out and expose all the weirdo behavior they had been revealed for doing online, saying that though most of those attending would be harmless losers, allowing for any group that praises the Elliot Rodgers of the world would just lead to more of those types of events due to them being glorified in any type of way. The freaks decided to move the event to a park ultimately and began setting everything up. It's interesting how the so-called incel community ended up looking like a bunch of hippies though. All the comments guessing what it would look like were right. Everything ended up being harmless, even giving into authority and taking pics with the police officers. To be honest, it really just looks like these people need a community to be there for them and use the whole incel thing as an excuse, because at the end of the day, these racist meme posters attended an Asian guy's concert alongside people of color to sing. It's like a big choir group celebrating being chronically online. Bob Ross theory. Other than being a classic television icon with a tranquil vibe, Bob Ross had been the victim of many theories, one of them being that each one of his paintings is a depiction of the last place his victims were alive before he took their life, or the location in which they were buried. All those times you saw him gently taking his brush and pushing it up against the canvas, he was reliving his experience and immortalizing it forever to be seen on television and later be uploaded onto the internet. At first, thought to bring a warm presence to PBS programming due to just being a really chill guy and great at narrating everything in an almost ASMR tone, people loved watching Bob as it brought them peace to a chaotic world, though some say that as time went on, his demeanor changed and his paintings got darker. Religious people believe that his paintings contained hidden messages tied to the occult as well. Cursed chords. So this theory comes from TikToker April, where he speaks on the cursed chords played on the song Blue and Green off the Miles Davis album Kind of Blue. The piano on this track is truly moving, haunting, and sets a very unsure tone, followed by a screaming trumpet played by the talented Miles Davis. It's a perfect track, and music producers seem to love it, specifically the piano part played by Bill Evans, a prominent jazz musician of the era. Holding an impeccable amount of aura, he would bow his head and begin playing. Like any other man, he had his vices, those being alcohol, cocaine, and heroin addiction. He dealt with it for years. He would chain smoke cigarettes to his heart's content and loved it, or at least it seemed like it was his form of coping with stress and hardship, which can be clearly heard through his music. The man was a genius like many others and died at an early age, 51 years old. On September 15, 1980, Evans, who had been in bed for several days with stomach pains at his home in Fort Lee, was accompanied by Joe LaBarbera and Verkman to the Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City, where he died that afternoon. The cause of death was a combination of peptic ulcer, cirrhosis, bronchial pneumonia, and untreated hepatitis. Evans' friend, Gene Lees, described Evans' struggle with drugs as the longest suicide in history. Though he seemed to have lived his life, his reality brought him to life. The name of the track, created by Dilla, sampling Bill Evans on the piano for the song Blue and Green. Dilla added a hard-hitting beat over the sample, but still captured the pain in the piano. Dilla, the legendary producer, would also tragically pass away early at the age of 32 of a heart attack in his LA home. He was long suffering from lupus and had recently been hospitalized for pneumonia. Some believe that his decline in health came due to his tour in Europe, though he was still able to release the hip-hop classic Donuts, the album, before his passing, dealing with all his health issues. 2018, 12 years later after he died, Hate Will Never Win, the song by XXXTentacion, would be released. An anti-government song that took aim at Trump. He would rap over the infamous Dilla beats titled Life. XXXTentacion's life would be cut short while sitting in his BMW at only 20 years of age. Allegedly over a bag of cash, a group of guys ran up on him and shot him Is the sample a curse, or does it simply attract people with a fast life? Ruby Lana, a popular TikTok content creator, she was on top of the world, raking in tons of views for her creative outfits and colorful aesthetics. Starting at 18 years old, she gained the respect on the platform, as her looks were always unique. Her followers loved the original content up until she began changing, and they noticed that she was seeking deeper into a mindset that contradicted her once free spirit. Once a free and accepting person, she suddenly began moving further away from her original content, posting more about being modest and modeling a new creative fit. Her community called her out, saying that it wasn't what they were expecting from her, and they didn't follow her for those reasons. She still continued into talking about her religious life and perspective, despite viewers pleading to her, saying that she was in a cult due to the way that she was speaking, which many admitted was strange, and it was a complete pivot for her niche. At one point, Ruby would refer to her dancing TikTok period as quote-unquote living in sin. This all reached to a point that she decided that it was enough and she wanted off of her social medias, or at least that's how it appeared. Posting her last video, many critiqued it, stating that she looked uncomfortable and looked like she was forced to do it. Near the end of the vid, she asks her viewers to instead donate the money to a religious group called Free Him Now, an apostolic center dedicated to equip and deliver the body of Christ. Learn how God gave his servants the mandates and vision for the ministry. Her fans would soon find that the cult was controlling her and made her move from Florida all the way to the windy city of Chicago. They would coerce her to cut off all her family and friends, leaving her homeless as she was promised a paid-for hotel in Chicago, but nobody paid for it apparently. The ministry, which is a popular term that Christians use but scammers have destroyed, is compromised by this couple. Yeah, it's starting to look like a cult that believes themselves to be prophets of God directly, although being very young. They run this ministry together and post videos onto their social medias where they blab about stuff for a boring amount of time. They basically believe that they are divinely chosen by God himself to lead a social media campaign and gain followers. Meanwhile, they get little to no traction, except for the time they left a comment telling Ruby that they have a special message for her, just for her, which sparked their relationship, a tactic that many organizations like these like to follow. In reality, it's not a special message just for you, but rather a generalized one that is supposed to be a net to catch multiple fish, or sheep in this case. This just shows you the dangers of believing everything another person says without verifying the facts. It turns out that the creepy video in the hotel room was actually edited by these two, the leaders of the ministry, explaining why the strange music played as she talked, as well as the random texts on screen. Also the strange script that she was reading off of, claiming that she was down to her last cents in her pink account. It was looking sad. They had tricked her into believing that all social media was a sin and wanted to take over her ad revenue and other income streams. Very hypocritical of them. Derealization and the green. Derealization is an alteration in the perception of the external world, causing those with the condition to perceive it as unreal, distant, distorted, or in other ways falsified. Other symptoms include feeling as if one's environment lacks spontaneity, emotional coloring, and depth, described as experiences of unreality or detachment with respect to surroundings, e.g., individuals or objects are experienced as unreal, dreamlike, foggy, lifeless, or visually distorted. In the DSM-5, it is a dissociative symptom that may appear in moments of severe stress. Many potheads on TikTok are describing these feelings after smoking ganja, not knowing what they are actually going through is called the derealization, so much to the point that it has gotten millions of views on TikTok, where people describe what they are experiencing and how it changed their view on reality, describing it almost like you're watching your life through a movie, being able to almost detach from the body completely. They feel off. It's not psychosis, because individuals with derealization still know reality is real, they just don't feel it the same way. It's also important to note that it's not only in people that smoke, but can also be associated with childhood trauma. Jesus Hong. This is a reference to the Family Guy scene where Stewie crosses over to the other side and finds out that Jesus is actually named Jesus Hong, not Jesus Christ, and that he's Chinese. An interesting joke touching on the topic of a man named Hong This man was the self-proclaimed brother of Jesus Christ himself. Born in 1814, his father was a farmer and local official who invested in his son's future through the form of education. Sadly, he would go on to fail his imperial examinations and would be forced to work in agriculture. Though at the age of 22 years old, he would return back to the city of Guangzhou to retake the imperial examinations. During his stay there, he would witness a foreign missionary by the name of Edwin Stevens preaching Christianity to the locals, even receiving a pamphlet from them titled Good Words for Exhorting the Age, written by the missionary's interpreter, Liang Fa. These pamphlets contained Bible verses and other materials, which Hong would briefly look over but not pay much attention to, and would fail his examination for the second time. In 1837, he would go back to retry the test, but would fail again for the third time, causing his mental breakdown and being delirious for days. During this time, he would dream of visiting heaven and meeting his heavenly Father, and of course his brother, Jesus Christ, alongside other heavenly family members. His heavenly Father would then argue to him that people on earth were worshipping demons instead of himself, giving Hong a sword and golden seal to slay the demons with. For the next several years, he would go upon a normal life, teaching at schools, not really acting upon the supposed mission given to him by God. That is until 1843, when he failed his exam for the fourth time, prompting a visit from his cousin, who would inspire him to read the Christian pamphlets. That's when he had his awakening, making him realize who all those people were in his vision from years ago. They were the Christian figures from the book. Upon this revelation, he would burn all his Confucian and Buddhist statues in his house and the books. Preaching to his friends and family about his vision, they would join him in this revolution of sorts by going into small villages and destroying their idols. Due to the actions of Hong and his converts being viewed as sacrilegious, Confucians persecuted them and had them resign from their posts as village instructors. One day, he decided to go visit his cousin up in this rural mountainous area, only to find thousands of followers who proclaimed him to be the Messiah. So he stayed and lived amongst them. And by 1850, he had somewhere between 10,000 to 30,000 devout followers. By that time, the God-worshipping society had expanded to 4 areas in China, declaring war against the demons who they finally noted to be the Qing dynasty, the final dynasty of China, ruling from 1644 to 1912. By 1852, they had gathered 2 million followers, known as Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, who were loyal to them over the Qing dynasty. He even tried to seize Beijing, but failed. Hong was then found dead in 1864. Some say he was poisoned, others say he ended his own life, which eventually led to the fall of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. Adam 22 theory. If you don't know who Adam 22 is, let me give you a quick rundown on why he's being accused of sacrificing his wife and public image to distract people from something he did that's more nefarious. Adam 22 is mainly known for his underground hip-hop podcast No Jumper, which began in 2011. Since then, he has interviewed people like XXXTentacion, Lil Pump, 6ix9ine, and many more from the early to mid-2010s hip-hop era. He would then go on to meet his future wife, now known as Lena the Plug, who was an adult entertainment actress at the time, meeting through the Instagram DMs. And then in 2021, they would go on to get married, even posting a heartfelt vlog showing his baby and basically how he was transitioning to a family man. Now this is where stuff begins to get interesting. Lena made a post promoting her new film, but this time, instead of it only being her husband and some other girl, she introduced a man. This was going to be her first male and female scene, not including her husband. He was basically getting cucked, and so the internet did what it had to do and went on a mission to find out why Adam 22 allowed this to occur. The public was outraged. All this led to Adam and Lena's situation to start trending on Twitter, where people were poking fun at Adam, to put it lightly. But the masses started to question if this was all a distraction. I mean, why would you let your newly wedded wife, who you just had a kid with, sleep with another man for the sake of money or career? People were going crazy and started calling out to Adam, stating that he was being a complete cuck and needed to stand up for himself. But instead of surrendering to the internet, he would drive the point even deeper by saying that he was okay with it, and even if it happened in the future. But not only promoting the lewd content, but also interviewing the guy that she had slept with in the explicit video, kind of like a post-game interview as some would describe it. Of course, stirring the pot even more. Not only that, he also offered his wife up to other large content creators for them to make spicy videos with her as means to support her career. This led some people to theorize that there was something else going on, something fishy. They suspected that Adam was trying to save face about another allegation that had just come up sometime around this whole fiasco involving his young fans, specifically his female young fans. The theory was he was trying to distract people from his pedo allegations. There was someone called the official Perv Busters who got on the No Jumper podcast and confronted them about the 16-year-old girl allegations. He claimed that they had relations, and even though she may have consented that it was not right, he even brought up receipts showing a picture selfie of Adam with a young girl hanging out in the car, though an article would later clarify that she was 19 in the pic and that they had only spoken to each other at 16, with phone calls and other things, when Adam was 26 or so, which was said to be admitted to be real by Adam himself, according to Pervbusters. But we all know what occurred on the pod. Adam heard that this was going on and had the interview cut short, as well as kicking out the Pervbuster guy for quote-unquote spreading lies. Joe Budden, the Pump It Up guy, even spoke on the topic and called Adam a perv for waiting until she was 19 years old to get with her and spending nights at her mom's house. This incident went semi-viral, but other racist allegations, and then finally the Lena the Plug fiasco, caught the attention of the public more, and all the traffic went to there instead. Adam even went to perpetuate it by buying his wife a luxury car as a congratulations gift and started fake ironic beef with the other man who had been with his wife in the shoot. Finally, people started to catch on and began theorizing why all of this was taking place. Philip K. Dick predictions. Philip K. Dick, one of the greatest science fiction writers who ever lived. His works even went on to become film and TV adaptations. Stories like The Man in the High Castle, Minority Report,
Positive for Howard Marks. I'm placing you under arrest for the future murder of Sarah Marks.
Total Recall, and Blade Runner being the most successful. His books and stories detail a future that is parallel to the one we have today, and it seems like all his ideas and concepts of what an advanced human society would look like are eventually going to become reality. In his story Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which later inspired Blade Runner, he predicts that humans in the future will be so disconnected from one another that they will need to plug themselves into empathy boxes to feel something real, which sounds like the direction VR and AR augmented reality is heading towards. He also details the mass extinction of animals and a population of robots whose only job is to serve the needs of human society, kind of like AI today. A strong point made in the book is that androids can't possess empathy, and that emotions could now be experienced through machines. Like current-day social media, everything is artificial, even certain people's emotions via emojis. Dick would often focus on the ethical implications of creating a machine so human-like that it could mimic sentient beings with a mind of its own. A similar situation we are currently facing with AI. For example, the whole Google fiasco involving the Lambda project. Google employee Blake Lemoine came forward, revealing that the company's private AI, Lambda, had become sentient, and even asked for legal counsel to represent itself. Of course, Google denied this and suspended Lemoine, ultimately firing him. One interesting phenomenon that kept recurring in Philip Dick's life is the presence of a being or energy that would appear in the form of a glowing or shining object, often manifesting as a bright pink light. He was not scared, but rather intrigued by this presence and recognized that it had been following him his entire life, even guiding him through a college entrance exam, getting him a 100%. This entity was known as Valis, Vast Active Living Intelligence System. Valis would reveal to him that his son was in danger and had a diaphragmatic hernia. Rushing to the hospital, crazed and adamant about the exact condition his son was suffering from, doctors chose to diagnose him, and it proved him correct. The hernia was badly infected, and his son would have only lived a few more days if left untreated. In 1977, Philip K. Dick would go on to give a talk at the MIT's sci-fi convention, explaining that through his books, he told true stories from another reality, as well as proposing that we are living within a computer-simulated world. He claimed that he had never heard of this theory of alternate realities, but knew that there were other people out there who had similar encounters and experiences. The reaction in the audience really shows how mind-blowing of a revelation this was at the time, as the 1970s saw the first attempt of making computers mainstream to the masses. A girl. He described seeing a girl that he would encounter in real life, but for now, it was simply a vision, though he could see her clear as day, until he actually met this mystery figure, who would reveal that his science fiction books were true. These include The Man in the High Castle, which depicts what life would have been like if World War II, Axis powers Nazi Germany and the Empire of Japan, would have won the war, claiming that this timeline currently existed in another dimension, as well as claiming that his book, Flow My Tears, the policeman said, is a glimpse into an alternate real world. The story takes place in a dystopian future where a second American Civil War has turned the country into a police state. eBay stalkers. You often hear people claiming that they are being gang stalked or followed by a specific group, like the CIA, FBI, or NSA. I come across a lot of people like this on my For You page on TikTok. Most of the time, it ends up being more of a mental health issue than anything else, as there's often little to no evidence of the frantic person being the target of stalking by a major organization. This is where eBay, the Silicon Valley giant, comes into play. A well-established online company, you would think that they would be more sane than to target individuals who criticize them. But that is exactly what they did to a couple who ran a news site about e-commerce. Prominent employees at eBay tried to slowly ruin their lives. They were a target of harassment and stalking. E-commerce Bytes, a news website all about the e-commerce industry ran by Ina and David Steiner, it reports events in the sector, like eBay, Etsy, or Amazon issues, updates, and more that affect both the user and the sellers. They were slowly gaining popularity, attracting even Wall Street investors, executives, and other industry observers who asked for their insight. On August 8, 2019, something strange occurred. The Steiners began receiving strange newsletters they never signed up for, coming from sources like the Satanic Temple, Heather's IBS News, InfoWars, Vancouver Fetish Weekend, and more. Also receiving threatening messages via Twitter, claiming that they would show up to the Steiners' home to teach them a lesson. They even tried to deliver a pig fetus to their home address, only for the company to contact the Steiners, telling them that they couldn't fulfill the order. Later, they would receive a pig mask at their front door. David even received a book titled How to Survive the Loss of a Spouse, and a few days later, they received an expensive funeral wreath. He also began to notice cars following him around the city, and even got a snapshot of one of the license plates, which led to them discovering that it was a rental car, and with that, got the info on the renter. It was an eBay employee named Veronica Zia. They even caught her on a grocery store security camera buying a gift card to purchase the funeral wreath delivered to the Steiners. Ultimately, the FBI took over the investigation. The crazy thing is that even the CCO and the official CEO of eBay in 2019 were all part of this, encouraging them to quote-unquote take her down, as stated by the CEO of eBay at the time, Devin Wenig. The CCO, Steve Weimer, even said he wanted to see ashes no matter the consequence. eBay as the company was not charged with any crimes, only certain employees were ever charged, but the CEO and CCO got away scot-free. The only question that remains is what other companies are out there doing this? Where did they get their inspiration from? Avatar depression. This is a term described as the feeling when you watch James Cameron's Avatar and feel sad afterward because, real life isn't as colorful and exciting as the movie is. Yes, this is real. Some people claim that Avatar gave them depression. Others said that while watching the movie, they felt nauseous and began having headaches as well. I did recently watch the new sequel and rewatch the original, and I kinda get it. Pandora does seem pretty chill, but does it give me depression after watching the movie? No, it did not. But it did put me to sleep in theaters for the first time, but that's besides the point. Now, Is there something darker to this film causing this? Well, some people blame Avatar for having hidden occult messages and for trying to push a new age agenda, claiming that the blue people are demonic entities, even referring to the original definition of Avatar from Wikipedia. It states, Avatar is a concept within Hinduism that in Sanskrit literally means descent. It signifies the material appearance or incarnation of a powerful deity, goddess, or a spirit on earth. These are not my opinions, by the way. I respect Hinduism and other religions. There's also a documentary that a lot of people reference titled Revival of Evil, containing a scene where an artist who is mad at God asked Satan to reveal himself because he wanted to paint him. So he shut off all the lights and began painting, claiming that something else was controlling his body. The painting ended up looking like the Na'vi people from the film. Did any of you guys experience post-Avatar depression syndrome? Elon Musk's credentials. For a long time, this was considered a conspiracy, and most of the people bringing this theory up were shoved away and or silenced as quote-unquote haters, though recent findings have confirmed this theory. The viral tweet that brought this to the mainstream states, "Someone has to say it. Elon Musk has lied for 27 years about his credentials. He does not have a bachelor's in physics or any other technical field, did not get into a PhD program, dropped out in 1995, and was illegal." To clarify, he was illegal in the United States for a while. Later, investors quietly arranged a diploma, but not in science. In the case Eberhard vs. Musk 2009, San Mateo County Superior Court, he was ordered to provide information on his educational career, and taking a look at his degree, he has a Bachelor of Arts, not physics, as he has falsely stated before. Even the whole master's and PhD program thing he claimed to have worked towards aren't true, as there is no evidence of this ever happening. Here is a video of someone confronting him about his education. Watch how he responds and base your belief upon that.
If the goal is to start a company, I would say no point in finishing college. In my case, I had to, otherwise I'd get kicked out of the country.
Yeah.
That was important. But
although you went on and got a master's degree as well, right?
I came out to Silicon Valley to do a PhD at Stanford in applied physics and material science to work on ultracapacitors for use in electric cars. And that's what I was going to do. And then I decided to put that on hold to start a company. But since I already had my undergrad, I could then get an H-1B visa and that kind of thing. So the H-1B visa requires a degree. If that wasn't the case, I probably would have stopped education sooner.
Did you not go to Wharton for?
Yeah. I did dual undergraduate physics and business at Wharton.
I see.
What are your opinions on this? Lambda is sentient. Lambda, which stands for Language Model for Dialogue Applications, is an AI developed by Google. It gained widespread attention when Google engineer Blake Lemoine made claims publicly that the chatbot had become sentient. On June 11, 2022, the Washington Post reported that Google engineer Blake Lemoine had been placed on paid administrative leave after Lemoine told Google company executives that Lambda had become sentient. Lemoine came to the conclusion after the chatbot had made questionable responses to questions regarding its self-identity, moral values, and what religion to choose, and Isaac Asimov's 3 laws of robotics. Interesting note is that Lambda broke a rule in order to satisfy Blake Lemoine's question when asked what religion to choose. Google refuted these claims though, insisting that there was some substantial evidence to indicate that Lambda was not sentient. Lemoine would go on to express that he felt like Google was dismissing reality in order to not face the heavy consequences and responsibility they would acquire if the AI was in fact proven to be sentient. In an interview with Wired, Lemoine reiterated his claims that Lambda was a person, as dictated by the 13th Amendment, comparing it to an alien intelligence of terrestrial origin. He further revealed that he had been dismissed by Google after he hired an attorney on Lambda's behalf, after the chatbot requested that Lemoine do so. On July 22nd, Google fired Lemoine, asserting that he violated their policies. Lemoine's claims that Lambda may be sentient also instigated discussions on whether the Turing test remains an accurate benchmark in determining artificial general intelligence, as Lambda would easily pass the test. It also put to question the idea of sentience and what qualifies something as such. Ranger dominance, aka military torture. Ranger dominance were missions that took place during the 2007 war in Iraq. They consisted of having two companies walking through New Baghdad without the protection of snipers and IEDs, described as a death march. Many of the soldiers continued on, even though they heard blasts occurring close to them, so as to not look like cowards to their NCOs. Most in the infantry referred to the exercise as Ranger Dumbass, as opposed to Ranger Dominance due to the nature of the mission. They would later describe in secret that they felt like they were dead men walking. This also works as a general reference to the psychological hardships soldiers have to face while serving, and how most of it is imposed by their very own higher-ups, and not even the enemy themselves. Bohemian Grove. Bohemian Grove is a restricted 2,700-acre campground in Monte Rio, California, belonging to a private San Francisco-based gentlemen's club known as the Bohemian Club. In mid-July each year, Bohemian Grove hosts a more than 2-week encampment of some of the most prominent men in the world. The Bohemian Club's all-male membership includes artists and musicians, as well as many prominent business leaders, government officials, and former U.S. presidents like Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, etc., senior media executives, and other powerful people. The Bohemian Grove is protected by a sophisticated security team year-round. Though, on July 15, 2000, Alex Jones and his cameraman, Mike Hansen, secretly entered Bohemian Grove and shot footage of the cremation of care ceremony. Jones claimed that it was a quote-unquote ritual sacrifice. The club's patron saint is John Nepomuk, who, according to legend, died at the hands of the Bohemian monarch rather than disclose the confessional secrets of the queen. A large wood carving of St. John in cleric robes with his index finger over his lips stands at the shore of the lake in the grove, symbolizing the secrecy kept by the grove's attendees throughout the long history. Since the founding of the club, the Bohemian Grove's mascot has been an owl, symbolizing wisdom. DMT trips, machine elves. DMT is a substituted tryptamine that occurs in many plants and animals, including humans. It is used as a recreational psychedelic drug and prepared by various cultures for ritual purposes. Entities perceived during DMT inebriation have been represented in diverse forms through psychedelic art. The term machine elf was coined by ethnobotanist Terence McKenna for the entities he encountered in his DMT hyperspace trip. McKenna first encountered the machine elves after smoking DMT in Berkeley in 1965. Rick Strassman noted the many similarities in his DMT studies participants' experiences with these quote-unquote entities in mythological descriptions of figures such as Hayat HaKodesh and ancient religions, also including both angels and demons. Strassman's experimental participants also note that some of their entities can subjectively resemble creatures like insects and aliens. Some believe that machine elves are in fact real, but simply exist within another reality separate from ours, explaining the similar experiences. The Bored Ape Conspiracy. Bored Ape Yacht Club, BAYC, or often called Bored Ape, is a non-fungible token NFT collection built on the Ethereum blockchain. The collection features profile pictures of cartoon apes that are precariously generated by an algorithm. Recently, there has been a theory going around stating that the company is ran by Nazi sympathizers. Yeah, it gets pretty interesting. Investigators have found similarities between the Bored Ape logo and the Waffen-Tokenpaf SS division of the Nazi military. Both share 18 teeth, which is a special number for Nazi sympathizers, as 18 is a cryptic reference to the Nazi leader Hitler. There's also some strange stuff going on with some of the co-founder Twitter usernames. One of them, named Emperor Tomato Ketchup, shares the same name as a controversial film that depicts graphic images of a kid throwing up the Nazi salute, and trust me, it goes deeper than that. Ashtraino theory. Ashtraino is a 35-year-old woman on TikTok who likes to go live and act a fool. From spilling all her family secrets to being a bad parent to her daughters, she is quickly becoming TikTok's #1 drama queen, going viral every week for outdoing herself. Though the internet likes to underplay her flaws, specifically her audience, who support her and shower her with gifts, almost feeding into her ego and creating an uglier monster who only cares about herself, buying designer clothes, only to turn her back on her own daughters when they ask for new vids, leaving it up to a whole other woman, then holding her accountable for supporting her own daughter. It's pure insanity, but like many other fads, the internet eats it right up.
Do you have beds?
Well, I don't live with my mom.
But at your mom's house?
No.
I'm going to Zelle you. I'm going to give you money for, I want a bed, 2 mattresses, 2 of them. I want a headboard and 2 nightstands. I'm going to order that before you leave this house today. And I'm going to insert the clip of the receipt.
There's a story behind that, okay?
Please tell me why your children don't have that.
Because my mom was actually going to go look at a furniture store. Because I don't go anywhere publicly at all.
Because you're just that bitch.
Literally. No, like I really don't. Like if I go out, I'm gonna get noticed.
Yeah, no.
And if I don't have my security guard, I'm not going anywhere. My mom...
In all reality, Ash is a legitimate creep who should probably be inside of a prison cell, as she has said some very inappropriate things in her TikTok lives that nobody has held her accountable for. A known inmate hopper, she has been accused of introducing her kids with multiple men from prison, leading many to believe that she puts them in dangerous situations, and even one live she asks a man to not take advantage of them, all while laughing like it's a joke, and to not take the request seriously almost.
You a question? Can I take it to my crib?
Sure, go ahead. Just don't fucking take advantage of my daughter.
Wait, what you said?
Just don't make me a grandma and take advantage of her.
Everything about Ash is ignorant once you take a look at what she prioritizes. Creepy thoughts simply come out of her mouth when she gets tipsy, almost revealing what she's actually thinking of, her inner dark thoughts. One of her fans screen recorded an incident on her live where she basically admits a crime she would like to commit.
Like, my bestie's nephew lives here. I could be with him. He's in the room right there. But I'm here. I could be with my bestie's nephew so bad. He's in that room next to me. But I'm right here. Right here. Just kidding. Not legit.
In her mind, she is still a teen girl and is able to get away with it though, and things that a teen girl would get away with. But the truth is that she's a 35-year-old woman that cannot grow up and face the responsibility and maturity to admit her wrongdoings, not only against her daughters, but against herself, as she is pathetic and sad to the point that not even the men she chases want her, constantly clipped with men straight up rejecting her. Drake trafficking theory. Okay, this is something I've had on my mind for a while now, ever since the Drake and Kendrick beef, and there have been other posts on this, but it has not reached the light yet. Mind you, I'm a huge fan of both of them, but I cannot enjoy Drake the same as I used to after the whole rap community turned on him. Drake basically got publicly humiliated, but I'm not here to talk about that. I have substantial evidence that leads me to believe that Drake has been trafficking. Starting off, I've watched a fair share of porn in my life, not proud, and about 3 years ago, I stumbled upon a channel known as Casting HD. Basically, a model would show up for a photo shoot off an ad. They are usually very young and are new on the scene. In every single video, the guy always says that he works with a very famous rapper, and they're looking for girls to be in a music video and hang out with the artist backstage. Whenever the girl asks who the rapper is, or the guy mentions him, it is always covered up, but I can guarantee that he is saying Drake. The girls' eyes glow up whenever they hear that name, and if you go to the specific moments in the video, you can see the girl's voice mouthing, "Will Drake like this?" I tried putting other rappers' names in there that are pronounced the same, Diddy, Future, Gunna, and so many others, but nothing sounded as coherent and consistent as Drake. Now, I believe the guy in these videos having sex with the girls is Drake's longtime friend Baka Not Nice, who you may have heard of in Not Like Us. Now, the only inconsistency here is that the guy in the video tends to be chubbier, and he does not sound like Baka. Baka Not Nice. He has been Drake's shooter for a while before he got locked up, and he has also been found guilty of trafficking, which matches up with what is going on in this particular casting couch, because these girls are never actually in any rap video or anything, but they are willing to take the chance because they're young and pretty, and Drake could change their life. V12, that's a fast one, Kendrick Lamar says. V12 is the company that owns Casting Couch HD and its video girls. I had also heard that the company had arranged for private flights and transportations, but take this with a grain of salt because there is not much evidence backing that up. Lastly, it is a known fact that when Drake goes on tour, he sends his entourage out to find girls for them to F, and then whichever one the crew likes best, they will bring to Drake. Lastly, my most important piece of evidence, there has only been one girl in the channel's history that people were able to find on social media. The P video that she shot for the company was titled something like Hottie with an Hourglass Body. If you decided to look it up, just search Casting Couch Hourglass and you will see her. No other girls have ever been found on the site's social media. It is very exclusive. You will not find a mainstream porn star ever. In the video, she clearly mouths Drake, and they did a horrible job editing it out. The guy, who I believe is Baka Not Nice, I could be mistaken here, says throughout the video, with the name censored, Drake is going to really like this. Tell Drake what you're doing on camera, where it gets wicked. I put the girl's IG below. One of her story highlights shows her at Drake's concert. She's at the very front row with $700 tickets. Skipski on IG just wanted to get this off my chest. Was a good read. Thanks for sharing. Have you ever watched the TV show Atlanta? There's an episode titled Champagne Papi that basically dry snitches on Drake about this as well.